Well, howdy everybody. I'm out walking again, and this time in a old place, but new to me. I have been meaning to come out to the old Gilmer City Cemetery for a long time. I was doing some internet research, yeah, like everybody else, I guess, about the age of this cemetery and if there were any Civil War veterans buried here. And I realized where we live and in the town of Gilmer, there were no battlefields close by, but there were some very, very well-known Texas regiments and cavalry regiments that were mustered and formed here in East Texas and went on to fight in some of the biggest battles of the Civil War. And there are some veterans that are buried out here, and I came out to kind of pay my respects and look at some of the folks that are resting here today. Many of these towards the front, or what I call the front of the cemetery, out here by 271, are from the late 1800s to the early 1900s. Ora, Bell, Cunliffe, Leach, 1873 to 1918. Wow. 1857 to 1913. They died before World War I. But some of these graves, or I guess I should say some of these folks' final resting spots are, they've been here a while. I would think that over there is probably newer, but some of these can't hardly read anymore. Margaret E., wife of Walter Boyd Sr., born 1832, died 1901. Wow. Some of these very, very hard to read anymore. Died 1900. Lee. It's the last name. I can't make out the first name. Died in 1887. Goodness. Would you look at the size of those headstones? Mercy. Wonder how old this tree is. Look at that. Let's walk up over there. And we have this plot that belonged to the White family. Look at that. Dr. R.F. White. His wife, Laura. Walter B. Get that one sunk in there. That almost looks like possibly an infant grave or child. Hard to say. The old wrought iron around it. And look at this. Bricks with a tree growing up through it. And a marker just laid up on top. There's another pile of bricks there. Simon Fraser, born June 2, 1826, died August 30th, 1871. Wow. You know, we're all going to end up in a place like this pretty much, one time or another, and I hope somebody comes and visits me and keeps up with my plot. Some of these look like they're not very well taken care of, and I don't mean that ugly. A lot of these families may have moved off or died out, and there's no one left to take care of them. I just noticed this, look. I'm not gonna go prying. I don't know if that's poison ivy or... There's a headstone there in this brush. There's another one right in there. Someone got buried under the tree for eternal shade from the oppressive East Texas heat. Here's another, more or less plain iron ore rock grave. Looks like there was a marker on top at one time. It's all busted. Ah, here we are. Simply says, Cone Soldier. Wow. Imagine the things that person saw. I'm assuming this is a Galloway family plot, maybe? That's the name I see on the headstone there. One of the markers has tumbled over. Kind of sad, really. But most of those graves are all passed away pre-1950. Here's another flag of the Confederacy. I'm sure marking another veteran's grave. Stephen W. Beasley died March 12th, 1872, age 62 years, 8 months, and 8 days. One time Mr. Beasley had some wrought iron fencing, it appears. I'll have to look him up later and see where he served, what regiments he served in. This magnolia tree over here's lost some branches here recently. We need to get out here and get this cleaned up. That's some big old branches right there. That's a couple of big old trees. They don't tell how old they are either. Moving right along. Here's another. Now that one's all growed up pretty good. It's another Confederate States national flag marking the grave of a veteran. I don't know if I can read this, and I don't want to step right all over on top of his grave. Looks like was born, I can't make that out, 1832, died 1882. See if there's a name on the other side. Yes, there is. Bussy. The name right there, Bussy. And then this Mary J., wife of H. Bussy. I'm assuming this gentleman here, she died in 1897, buried side by side. Wow. Like I said, man, these some of these need to be cleaned up and this brush hauled away. These branches trimmed up. Because even, well, we've got some that are covered there, but even without the branches being down, there's some close into these trees that are a little overgrown. They need a little love, a little respect. Golly, that's a big old tree. Dang. Couple more, and I'm gonna have to get going for today. I'm gonna be on grandpa duty this afternoon. Wow. It's beautiful. Another family plot with the wrought iron. Driggers. BD and CJ. Wow. Well, I can't stand it. Hang on. There's really nothing in it, but I hate to see it just rolled over like that. Some more grave markers that are knocked over, tumped over, however you want to say it. When I was a kid, we also said tumped over. That thing tumped over, man. Another Confederate veteran. These guys went a long way to fight for what they believed in. F.J. Johnson, 1831 maybe to 1900, Confederate States of America. You know, they fought a long way from home, long way away from families. Pratt family, Sewell family. Dalrymple, I guess is how you would pronounce that. Dalrymple, I don't know. Some obelisks there with some other markers up front. Some of these are pretty darn old, y'all. Wow. It's amazing. This is right here in my backyard, so to speak. I live, I don't know, 20 minutes away from here. Who knows? I could wind up residing here till the Lord comes back. You never know. One more, and I'm gonna have to kind of head back to the car. Henry Clay Taylor. Company K, 27th Tennessee Infantry, Confederate States of America. Wonder how long that old building's been there. Long time, I bet. Well, I'll get back out here when I can cover some more ground. My main focus and goal today was to look and find some of the Confederate veterans that went off to fight and came home and were buried here. Hard to believe that it was that long ago, huh? And that they've been here that long. Speaking of veterans, look at this. Lewis Scott Pickett, Private First Class U.S. Army, World War II. October 16th, 1918, June 17th, 1980. World War II veterans were called the greatest generation. And there's a lot of truth to that. Let's see here. When was he born again? 1918. So we went, United States declared war in 1941. So he would have been, what, 27 years old? 27 years old. Not sure what theater he fought in, but all war is horrible. But that was a horrible, horrible war. Had to be done. But the greatest generation. Mr. and Mrs. Crowley. Didn't know him, but somebody brought flowers out to him. I think that's awesome. Would lead me to believe they still have family around. Lucille Slade, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, Crowley. Mama, October 28th, 1918, February 11th, 2019. Oh, let's see who's on her other side here. Another World War II veteran. Sorry, it's gonna have to be sideways. I don't want to stand on top of somebody. James E. Crowley, U.S. Army, World War II. March 22nd, 1916, January 2nd, 1994. Thank you for your service, sir. Wow. Well, all right. Well, out walking, it's a whole lot cooler today. It's barely in the 90s when I got out of the Outback, which we affectionately call the Chili Dog. One of my former technicians gave it that name, and it's been the Chili Dog ever since. But anyhow, the thermostat inside there said it was 93 degrees outside. The wind's been blowing a little bit. I'm not even breaking a sweat. It's very pleasant out here today, believe it or not. There's that tree limb again. I'm not trying to get anybody in trouble. I'm not harping on that. Well, maybe I'm a little bit harping on it. But that needs to be cleaned up. And I might have to make a few phone calls and see what we need to do about that, to try and get that cleaned up. Some more graves off to the side over here. Some of those look a little more recent on that side. But once again, look, oh, let's see. I gotta go look over here. This one's got a puppy on it. It's cracked at the bottom. Oh goodness, I cannot read it. Tell you what, getting old is terrible. A.B., son of J.T. and A.G. Denton. 1891 to October 5th, 1898. That's not a puppy, that's a lamb. And he was a young man, and I was kind of drawn to that. It's kind of weird because my birthday is October the 6th. Of course, not 1898. I know some of you think I'm pretty darn old, but I'm not quite that old. But here we go. All right, getting back out towards the road, and it's going to be a little noisy. About ready to pause it. But hey, thank y'all for coming along. I didn't really accumulate a lot of steps doing this, but sure satisfied some of my curiosity and some of my historical bone, I guess you could say. One more sweep. Really is a beautiful cemetery. It really is. Quite a few folks here. Look, there's some way down the hill down there. More places to go and explore later. Thank you for coming along. I appreciate it. See y'all in the next one. All right, bonus footage as they call it. And the 2-4 mentioned chili dog. All right, I'm really out this time.